and I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
I'll give you some numbers just for people who don't know. Hookup sex is pretty terrible. So after a hookup, 43% of women regret it. Be careful, university students. And a lot of women wanted a relationship to develop following a hookup. 43% of women wanted a relationship to spring out of a hookup. In other words, they're trying to catch the man with the old quicksand vagina. Whoa, bear trap. And 12% of women actually, just interestingly enough, say that it's sometimes easier to have sex with a guy they don't know than to make conversation. Ooh, little too much tableting, ladies, growing up. I'm sorry about that. 49% of women and 26% of men feel bad after hookups, feel negative. And the sex is terrible. Terrible. Let me just see if I can find the numbers here. It's not good. So in hookups, in first-time hookups, 31% of men and 10% of women reached orgasm. 10%? I don't know. Maybe that's in the bathroom with the sprayer later. I don't know. But that's really bad. Less than a third of men actually reach orgasm. Well, I mean, what do? Bring a tube of toothpaste and pretend? I'm done. And you're flossed. So it's bad. Whereas in long-term relationships, just in the last sexual activity, 85% of men and 68% of women achieved orgasm. So women, 7 times better off in terms of sexual satisfaction than in a just in some casual hookup relationship. And believe it or not, in hookup culture, men receive a lot more oral sex than women do. Maybe it's because it doesn't come with tumors. I don't know. Anyway, so it's not a great decision to hook up with someone, to put it mildly. I mean, the sex isn't going to be that great. Odds are, if you're a woman, you're going to regret it as often as not. And, you don't know the person's sexual history, STDs, which you can get even if you have a condom on or whatever. So it's usually not a great decision. And for women, of course, well, we'll get into this. We've got a call later about feminism. For women, it's tough as a whole. The idea that you can screw a man into liking you, into wanting to commit, I mean, that is entirely backwards in terms of sex was the reward for commitment through almost all of human history, at least civilized human history. Sex was the reward for commitment. The idea that you have sex and then expect or want commitment is well, it's crazy. And it's entirely backwards from our evolutionary biology. This lie that thousands of years of socially refined restraints upon sexuality, the delay of gratification that is necessary to build stable families, necessary to build equality and safe environment for children, the idea we're all tempted by it, let's just step into the porn set and go at it octopuses throwing their tentacles around. But the reality is that short-term gratification is sugar. It's sugar. And we all know that our bodies have evolved to want far more sugar than we can healthily process because we needed the incentive to go get the sugar, right? But the same thing with sexuality. We live in this hypersexualized world, and our bodies are designed to want far more sex than is good for us and good for society. And I mean by that in terms of variety of sexual partners. Pair bonding and so on. Sex is a great way of staying close, of enhancing the pair bond and so on. So there are a near endless set of negative outcomes that have been uncorked by taking this genie of fantasy, recreational, consequence-free sexuality out of the bottle. And we see this in movies all the time. It's like, hey, let's meet for a latte and shag in the toilet. And this never seems to lead to pregnancies or STDs, and occasionally you get Glenn Close popping up in your kitchen as a bunny boiler. But for the most part, it is all consequence-free, all recreational. Like, sex is just a toy for you to enjoy. It's like, no, sex is the reason why we're here. Sex is the reason it's a big person's game that makes real people. So it's important to know, and this is the information I want to get across to you, if you view sex as just this personal proletariat plaything of infinite personal pleasure, well, the odds are that it's going to end badly for you, and like really badly. Not just STDs, which are bad enough, but unwanted pregnancies, abortions, divorce, children growing up alienated and unhappy and problematic. And, you know, it's the old thing. If you don't have time to get it right now, how on earth are you going to have time to get it right later if your kids have gone off the rails? So find the right partner. I've made the case that love is our involuntary response to virtue. If we're virtuous, find the right person, find someone you can love, find someone you can respect, find someone that you can treasure. You know, someone told me when I was young, it was a neighbor of mine actually in England. He said, you know, if you don't get married and stay married, you can maybe date 10 or 20 people or maybe a little more over the course of your life. He said, but if you get married and you stay married, you get to date thousands of people because you and your partner are constantly changing and constantly growing. And it really, really stuck with me. And I've been blissfully married for over 13 years now, and we're going to be together until we're on the table at the Jeffersonian. So the negative consequences are huge. STDs, out-of-wedlock pregnancies, out-of-wedlock births, single motherhood, the giant increase in the in-state power and indebtedness and taxation to pay for all of this stuff, single-parent homes. Coming from a single-parent home is that factor alone is the biggest single predictor of a negative outcome for a child, more than socioeconomic status or race or any of those things. And again, it's not to say that all single moms are bad, but we're just looking at the statistics. Maternal and child poverty vastly increase with this sexual revolution, which is just the same late Roman Soviet mess that's happened before. Decreased marital stability and happiness makes the lawyers happy, but look, statistically women, and children in particular, but women are by far the best off if they, well, let's just say women are the best off if they restrain their sexual activity within the confines of a marriage. They're happier, they're sexually more fulfilled, they're more secure, they're physically safer, and their children are safer. And surely that should be enough to give us pause and spray some Freon on our naughty parts, at least for the time being.